Hi guys. So today I'm going to do a quick reading. I don't know, you might end up hearing my husband playing guitar in the basement. I still have to find my own space at home. But that being said, it's okay. I'll just add some music in the background if you like that kind of thing. Anyway, the first card we have is from the Medicine Heart Oracle from Elena Fairchild. And usually when I do hers, I usually just take pieces and parts because it's a pretty extensive book if you don't know her stuff. And it's good stuff because she kind of dives into how you mix different cultures in shamanism, because shamanism really is from around the world. It's not just one type of thing. It's the innate natural connection to spirit and nature that we all kind of came from, right? Anyway, so the first one is number 23, Ajayu. I hope I said that right. I probably didn't. But this is a word that kind of means the combination of spirit and your interaction with the things around you and the cosmos and how it all affects each other. So it's kind of like mind, body, spirit in a way, but kind of like in a more deeper, more interesting way. If you're like me, you like the kind of deeper stuff like that. And this comes from South America in the Andes area. And I'm going to read the first inscription real quick because I think this kind of encompasses what this is about. And it says, "Inherent in the gift of your precious human life is the opportunity to experience and express the authentic soul journey. As a human, you will muddle along, mess up, and gain insight as to what an authentic life path is for you. This is how you grow into the fullness of your spiritually mature humanity. If you have made mistakes or wish that you could have handled something differently, allow regret to inspire a different way rather than lead to self-criticism and ridicule. You are an innately pure spiritual being. You always have been and always will be. You are here to learn and grow. There never was any requirement for perfection. You can take responsibility for the inevitable messes of learning and growing and still celebrate the mysterious magic of your life." Yes, I think that's so beautiful. There's some owls on this card, so maybe owls mean something to you. And then I'm going to go into the tarot, which the first row for me, if you're newer to me, which a lot of you guys are, and I appreciate you so much, and which inside I don't even know how to express gratitude for what you've done for me. And all my friends and, just community members. I'm just ecstatically grateful right now. Anyway. And so the first row, first vertical row for me, usually, and this is kind of like a spread that I kind of adapted from, I'm not sure who she was. I saw it in a passing video one time and I can't even find it anymore, but I liked it. So the first row for me is what the energy you're in right now. So we have the Six of Wands, which sometimes can be success. It can be also recognition. And it's, to me, this kind of feels like, especially since we have the Three of Cups on the bottom, this is like celebrating those connections you have around you. This is recognizing the benefits and the gifts that we get from each other, right? The collective school that we're all in, right? We're all in this kind of together. And I don't have a centered belief. If you are newer to me, you'll kind of get that from me. I take things from here and there just because for me, this whole thing is about exploring and learning along the way, which beautifully is kind of expressed in that first card. And then my second vertical row is usually what we need to work on, or maybe it's something that's helping us. I feel like that's our area of focus. And we have the Queen of Cups and we have Judgment. So Judgment always to me has kind of been it's when they say awakening, or this is an aha moment. This is a knowing, whether it's something you're realizing or remembering, because a lot of times I feel like that's what all of this is we're just kind of taking away the cobwebs and understanding really what we've kind of known the whole time. But it takes life experiences to kind of dust that stuff off, right? To really understand what that is. And just like in that first card, that's kind of what she's saying is, we go through things and we make mistakes. We fall down and we get back up. If any of you are older, like me, and you remember the Nintendo games, the old school ones, where it was literally muscle memory, and you would do the same thing over and over again until you kept falling off of the same pit or whatever, and then you come back and you remember that, so you do it better the next time. It's kind of how that works, I feel like. But I think this is deeper on a soul level too. I feel like there is stuff that we can't explain that's deeper, and we just, the more we go along, the more we understand, and the more we're experienced, the more people that, kind of bring things to us and different ideas that we, explore. So, yeah. And the Queen of Cups, I completely skipped over her. I don't know why, but I don't know. But she is very intuitive. She's very giving and emotionally aware. Sometimes she's a little too deep in those waters. But I feel like as something that we need to focus on, especially with judgment in here, I feel like these are knowings that we really need to tap into and use that knowledge that you have, that intuitive knowledge. I feel like we're being asked to really use that. And since this is being compared to, this is next to the first two cards, which is about collectiveness, I feel like we're being kind of like instructed to, work with these people and surroundings and ideas that we're coming to know, right? And experiences, and maybe express them to others too. I feel like that's what we all do right now, and I think it's beautiful. And my third row is always what you have around you to kind of help you, kind of like your resources, whether it be energy that you have, energy around you. Maybe there's astrological, energy that can help you too, because I'm a big believer on astrology, just because it's insane when you like compare your chart to life. It's crazy. And people are skeptical, but if you really think about it, I mean, these are big giant masses that are connected to our big giant mass that we live on, and there's minerals and magnetism and all kinds of reflective energy that really does affect us. I mean, anybody, if you pay attention to like the moon cycles and you pay attention to yourself, you'll know there is an effect. I mean, it doesn't have to be deeper than it is, but there is an effect. Anyway, so something that was a bit longer than that needed to be. But so this can also be people around you that you can maybe use some of their wisdom or ask them for help or whatever. But this row is always kind of like what you can use to help you. And we have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands to me is always kind of like a spark, like a spiritual spark, or an inspiring spark, something that kind of like, whether it's a new idea or a new experience or a new level in your life game or whatever. And then we have it over the Nine of Wands. So Nine of Wands to me, a lot of times people kind of see that as being kind of like defensive, which I think given certain contexts it can be. But for me, it always feels like being spiritually protected, because wands are spiritual for me. And I don't know, I can't remember where I came up with that, but ever since I kind of felt that one time, it just kind of sticks with me. And then when you have like the Ace of Wands and the Nine of Wands together, that's kind of like, another wand. So that could be 10 of Wands. And 10 of Wands doesn't have to be a burden. This is spiritual knowledge that you have accumulated. And these are things that, whether through people around you or knowledge through your life, if you look at the first card, that's kind of what she's talking about. So I feel like that's what we need to really utilize. This is really saying, gather that knowledge and that intuition. And, because I think right now we all have a lot of questions, especially with all the craziness happening right now. So in our last row, that is kind of like my, I don't know if I would say that's like my outcome, but this is kind of like what kind of like a message is trying to tell you. So we have the Page of Cups and we have Justice. So the Page of Cups, sometimes it can be like a message coming from somebody younger. Sometimes it can be like spirit giving you like an inspiration. But a lot of times with the cups, with the pages, it's like, this is like a youthful, carefree type of energy. And I feel like we're given that. So all the stuff that we're kind of collecting and knowing and experiencing and intuitiving is kind of telling us, that we need to really like balance all that like deep thinking and thought with balance with the justice there. I feel like we're needing to really balance that with having that childlike faith, really having that innocence. Because for me, that's a huge part of it all, is like that awe, right? That's what makes all of this so exciting for me. As a kid, I was obsessed with archaeology and I loved that type of thing. And then, you know, it kind of bled into like spirituality and things like that. Although at that time I didn't know that's what it was, but that was what it was, is that inspiration and that just that awe of stuff. Like I always like to say, you know, sometimes people like to say that there's a difference between science and spirituality, but really if you look at science down to the core, like how existence just is and the molecular structures of things that just happen, that's magic to me. So I feel like just kind of looking at that and balancing that childlike wonder with the knowledge that we have, so it's not so serious, you know what I mean? Kind of taking that gentler approach and allowing it to help you flow through life. And then we have the Liminal Forrest Oracle with choices and courage. And I feel like that's kind of part of this too. We have so many choices, right? And nothing is set in stone, just like that reading I did the other day. But if you kind of look at our life, that's kind of what happens. Like, you know, if we're brave enough and we have that courage to kind of keep going after some of those things where we've fallen and we've failed and we feel like life is not going our way, and then we come through that gives you courage, and those choices help us make those type of discoveries and gain that wisdom. So I feel like that's saying, you know, have the courage to keep going through these choices and making the right choices for you. And then we go to the Herbal Astrology Oracle, and I got Tulsi, which I get a lot, which is also holy basil, and I have a lot of holy basil in my garden because I love it and it's delicious and smells awesome. But there was a passage in the book that I'm going to read. I don't always read the passages in the oracle cards just because, I don't know, sometimes I just don't feel like it. But today I'm going to read this one because I feel like it's pretty significant. And this is the guidance of Tulsi Basil of Tulsi. It says, the Tulsi goddess sits proudly facing her beautiful peacock, symbolizing heaven on earth. She raises her arms with grace, aiming them like a wand to catalyze magic and wealth. The fountain is centered between the goddess and the peacock, representing the wellspring created between earth and the manifested world and heaven, the spirit world. Peacock embodies the medicine of auspiciousness, magic, and beauty, reminding us that we are the living gateway to the greatest of mysteries. Tulsi here is today to teach us the key to Jupiter's doorway, abundance and wisdom, is to live, create, and communicate from a place of wonder, innocence, and impeccability, Mercury, rather than doubt and confusion. Don't be fooled by material possessions or the vanity often worshipped in the material world. Tune into your deeper realities that abound around you. Be spontaneous and celebrate your temple just as you are. And yes, I just think that's beautiful. That I don't know why I've never like read that in a reading before. I should have, because that kind of encompasses what I love about all of this, whatever this is. And then our last card is number 50 with ayahuasca, which kind of is a reference to South America. So maybe there's some South Americans here. But at the same time, I just think like the beauty of some of these cultures, the way that they see spirituality is just awesome. Anyway, so ayahuasca is number 50 with rebirth. And this is ruled by Pluto, Jupiter, and Neptune. So the depths, expansion, and spirituality, obviously. And upright, it means rebirth, mastery, great revelation, discovery of higher self, meeting with the creatrix, divine messengers, gifts from spirit, realization, telepathy, and transcendence. And I feel like that's really what it is. I mean, we try to find the key, right? We try to find the answer to all of this. And really, it is inside of us. It's getting all that crap out of the way. But in order to get to that point, a lot of times we kind of have to go through some stuff. And that's not to say that there aren't young people that get to wisdom earlier. And I feel like it's not an ending thing either. You don't have somebody who knows it all. But the more I feel like we share these things with each other too, it kind of sparks that knowing and remembering, and a lot of time that connection between all of us at the same time. I hope this helped somebody today, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for all that you guys have done for me so far, and just giving me the chance to say what I have to say. Thank you, and have a great day.